Hello and welcome to episode 85 of the Talk Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me this fine evening, the one, the only, Mr. Perry Burkham.
Hello, Casey Gibson. How are you, buddy?
I am doing well. It was a busy past week or two, and this is, I don't want to say, I guess an obligation, but the last thing I need to do before, everything is done for, a week, and then I can just sit back and play some video games and relax. Oh, I'm so excited.
Besides your other podcast.
What other podcast?
The Patreon one, right?
No, we already did that. We did that last night. So,
okay.
So I am in the,
Good.
after this, I'm in the clear.
You know what? If I'm such a bother, why don't we just stop now?
All right, that's it. 85 is done.
Woo! Shortest episode yet. Actually, I've been thinking about something. I've been thinking about this for a long time. You know those Publishers Clearinghouse giveaways?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, win $1 million plus $5,000 a week for the rest of your life, and then when you die, you get, your wife gets $5,000 until she dies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It sounds amazing.
Where the heck does that money come from?
It's probably all a scam of some
I don't
sort.
understand this, because I looked them up. They're Publishers Clearinghouse. They're like magazines and merchandise. Where could they possibly get money to get magazines?
I was like, who's buying magazines?
This is a drug thing. It's a cartel.
I would be all in with a cartel if they were just offering to give me millions of dollars and stuff.
Well, yeah.
For not having to do anything. I don't want to do anything illegal.
But it's just how is this possible, you know?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And I've always wondered why.
Some people question how Funky Kong stands on the spikes without getting hurt, but some things just happen.
That's another thing in video games. How come it's just you die when you go on spikes?
Spikes are deadly.
Yeah, when you get shot, you can take 7 hits, but Yeah,
a machine gun's pumping bullets into you, and it's oh, I'll be alright. But yeah, God forbid you trip on the spike.
I know. Anyway, so yes, we.
So how are you? I didn't even ask. How are you, Perry?
Oh, I'm really good, actually. Really good. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear.
Do you know why I'm doing really good?
No, I don't really care. I'm just kidding.
I didn't ask if you care. I said, do you know why?
No, I do not know why. Is it because you're talking to your best pal?
That's no. It's we're gonna do something that we've never done before.
Oh,
this is
again?
a historic episode.
You're bringing out more segments?
No, I'm just switching them around. We're gonna have our first segment be the Craigslist Roundup. Craigslist Roundup. Yep. So
it's been a while.
For new listeners, yeah, it's been a while, a long time.
You've gotten lazy in your old age.
I'm not lazy. I'm just It comes and goes in seasons, okay? But anyway, what the Craigslist Roundup is I hunt on Craigslist for video games, specifically Nintendo stuff usually, and I usually get some really crazy deals. And it's fun. It's fun to talk about them. So I got a really crazy good deal this week.
Tell me all about it, Perry.
All right.
I have a feeling it might include some non-Nintendo stuff because of that usually Nintendo.
That's right. Yeah. So what we have here, what if I told you I'd give you a Nintendo Wii with 4 controllers, 4 Mario Kart Wii wheels, 15 games, including Mario Kart Wii, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Super Mario Sluggers, Mario Party 8, Wii Fit, plus the balance board. What if I told you I'd give you all that for $50?
I'd probably pass.
Okay.
But, no, I'd say that's probably a heck of a deal because I don't know how much Wii's go for off the top of my head, but I can't imagine. I mean, the Wii itself probably has to be worth at least $20 to $30, and then all those games, right?
That's right. Yeah, like for instance, like the Mario Party 8 is like $30 on Amazon.
Is it really? Itself.
Yeah. That's why I don't have it. I don't have it because it's all they keep their value. It's insane.
Weird. I would never I'd expect some games, but like Mario parties generally, I feel like those were sort of. I mean, I guess maybe the earlier. I don't know. I don't remember.
Wii's are about $50.
Oh, geez. Oh, wow. So all right, they must have. I guess it's crazy how much time has passed. I guess.
Well,
they're getting
like
into
I said,
that retro.
it comes and goes. Yeah, this is current, so it comes and goes seasons. But yeah, so that's not all. Okay, what if I told you that you also got a PS2? A PS2? What the heck is that? With a bunch, like 15 games, plus 4 controllers, and the funny, hilarious dongle that you need to use.
The multi-tap?
Yeah, you have... That's so funny. I forgot that the PS2 didn't have 4 controller slots. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's... yeah, it is a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, what if I told you add that in for $50?
An additional $50? Or is
Nope.
All
altogether.
Included in the... I mean,
yep.
Now it's becoming a no-brainer.
Right. But that's not all. Can you believe that that's not all? Stop the madness.
What's there, an Xbox in there too?
No. What there is, though, is a PS3 with 3 DualShock 3s and a boatload of games, pretty good games, too, besides that Sonic collection. Actually, that Sonic collection has a bunch of just other Genesis games.
You should have just been like, the second you saw Sonic, you're like, never mind.
Never mind.
Just
I
like
don't want this.
The deal's off.
I like there was like 2 huge boxes, and so I dug through them, and I should have just dug through and like handed them back. You keep this. It also came with like Disney Infinity and like probably like 15 Disney Infinity characters, and I just plugged in the PS3 this morning, and lo and behold, it's full of games.
Jesus.
Games that people have bought. Also, I can sign into the people's account.
Stealing their identities?
Very smart. Yep, I'm going to steal their identity. You know, that's funny. Like, even like their Netflix was like automatic sign in.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but it was just funny. It's funny how naive people can be, because that's...
Yeah, if I'm going to sell something, I'm going to make sure I wipe it down to like factory settings.
Yeah, but the cool thing is now I got all these games to play.
Let me ask you, how much does a PS3 go for these days? It's probably pretty decent.
Yeah, if you look on Amazon, just like by themselves, a PS3 goes for, let's see, the 500 gigabytes. The one that I got, that's the one I got. Looks like 155.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I didn't realize it was that much. Yeah,
this deal just got even better.
Yeah, so it's a pretty ridiculous deal. One of the best I've got, actually, I think.
I mean, yeah, that's, like you said, if it was just the Wii stuff for $50 would have been a really nice pickup. And then, now it's like legendary pickup.
Yeah, yep. It's so legendary that it made the beginning of the Talk Nintendo podcast.
Oh, God. And it's going to roll right into something else.
That's right. I just got to mention right before that that nothing, though. I don't think anything will overtop my Fammy find.
Oh, well, that's...
My Famicom find. That was the most exciting moment of my life.
Because that's got, like, the combination of not only being an unbelievable find, like, cost-wise, like...
Yeah.
But, like, just who has a whole box of Famicom games in the middle of Iowa?
I don't know. RPGs. That was it's so weird, dude.
I want to meet this man.
He was boxes. I know.
Man or woman.
I have his name. I really should look him up. I should look him up. Dude, being in the back of the car when I picked up those Famicom games. So for people who don't know, I got this huge box full of 100. I think there's 120 Famicom games with like when like half of them were in original packaging for like $75. And I got in the car with this guy. Well, no, I didn't. No,
oh my God. I didn't know this part of the story. No wonder why you got such a good deal.
No. I picked up the bucket from the guy. I mean, actually sitting right next to me.
He made me go down in the cellar to grab this bucket.
And I got in the car. Jill was driving because I wanted to, we drove like 40 minutes to get there at like pitch black in the middle of nowhere. It was kind of scary, but I was very excited. And anyway, I picked it up. The guy told me that it was a storage auction buy, and he just didn't know when he put it on Craigslist. And it was one of those things I remember that I just was like I will come pick it up right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sold.
Well,
yeah.
I was like, I'm not waiting another second for someone to offer you $300 for this. But I remember getting in the car, and like the third game that I had my phone with the flashlight. The third game that I pulled out was Mother in the original packaging. And I was just like, that was like one of the most exciting moments of my life. It's pretty good. Anyway,
Ooh-wee.
But this one was a good pickup too. So, yeah. Also, yeah, it came like the PS3 came up with like Uncharted and Infamous 2 and lots
quality
of good
games.
stuff.
Quality. Whoever owned this had some pretty good taste.
Yeah. So, like you said, this is gonna roll on to our next segment, which is Quick Bites. That's right, Quick Bites, where before we get into the nitty gritty of what we've played, just stuff that we've played a little bit of that maybe we've talked about before, or maybe that we didn't play, too much of that we just want to mention.
It's the quick. What we've been playing before what we've been playing.
It's the appetizer. It's the quick bite.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
It does. I didn't even think about that.
It's like you planned this or something, Perry.
It's the hors d'oeuvre.
Get your hors d'oeuvres out of here.
But I do have a couple of hors d'oeuvres. One that I'm going to start with, like you said, is Mirror. I think this is what it's called. You can make sure. It's Mirror's Edge.
Yes.
Okay.
That's with like it's a woman and it's like parkour, right? I believe.
Yes. Yeah. So I got this game. This is one of the games that was downloaded on the PS3. And I was like, I've always been interested in this game just because I've kind of seen very little snippets, not knowing exactly what it is, but hearing like from people, hey, this is a good game, I don't know, just randomly, like I've never seen video, I don't know what it is. So I started it, and it's this really cool first-person parkour game. And I know it might sound really stupid to people, like, because if it's so obvious, like I'm just so out of like if it's not on Nintendo, I'm not guaranteed to know what this is. That's me. But yeah, I started playing it this morning before work, and man, it just instantly hooked me. And it's funny. This is very similar, and I'm serious. It's very similar to Cluster Truck.
That's sort of cool.
I
can sort of see that too.
No, it is. It's like, imagine instead of running on a million trucks, you're just running on like rooftops and you're jumping off stuff. But you have full control. I mean, I guess you do in Cluster Truck, but I mean,
it probably has better control.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so, but the gameplay is pretty simple. You're jumping on stuff, you're vaulting over stuff, you're jumping and rolling, and you're doing heist type stuff. I haven't got too far into it, therefore the quick bite. But I am excited to dive more into it. Yeah, so that's a cool game. I don't know. If you should check that out seriously, Casey. I guess I'll tell you more about it when I play. But I really was digging it.
Is this like the first non-Nintendo game you've talked about on the show?
No, because I remember you saying that before. It's not.
Then what could it have been?
I can't remember, but I remember you saying that before.
I'll believe you.
Yeah, I can't remember though. Anyway, so yeah, the other quick bite here is Mutant Mud Super Challenge. That is my go-to game for, it's like if I'm in between games, if I just want something that's satisfying and quick to get to, I've been playing through it. Initially, my goodness, that game, the start of that game, it is a freaking hard game.
Yeah, I mean, they get right on into
that's a hard
the difficulty.
Game. Yeah, I mean, like when I first started, because I started directly after Mutant Mudds, when I 100%ed Mutant Mudds. And it was just like, whoa, this is so hard in the first few levels, you know? And so I kind of was taken aback by it. But it does get easier. It really does. I know the levels do get easier, even though you might think, well, you're probably getting better. No, the levels get easier. But I'm going through and I'm getting all the sprites and then getting all, doing the bonus levels in each. And then the boss, oh my goodness, the bosses are super hard. Or at least the first one I played, it's so hard. Probably took me like 30 tries to beat. But yeah, I'm really enjoying, really enjoying this game. Super challenge. So that's and I was just thinking about that. What a crazy heck of a deal. Because I've also been playing Mud Blocks that came with the with the collection, the Mutant Mudds collection. That game's amazing, and it's so cool. It's like the only game I can think of where, I mean, it's kind of like a mobile game. The idea of you can play it touchscreen, vertically, handheld.
That
But
vertical play.
The cool thing is the rumble. Really cool, really fun. Playing on that big juicy Switch screen. That game's a lot of fun, and yeah, that's a great set of games there, that Mutant Mudds. So, anywho. If I've been talking a long time, I think we should switch it over to what we've been playing, and you can start off with your first game.
Yes, as I said now, I've been busy last couple weeks with reviews and just different stuff going on, so this weekend was finally like the first bit that, I mean, I had another game I'll talk about after is Donkey Kong Country 3. I've been playing that, but that's sort of a short game. So I wanted to like sort of supplement it with another game, and I was trying to decide what to play. And I was sort of torn. I was like, well, I can jump onto the eShop and see what's going on over there. See if, you know, any new games or any games that are on sale or something. Then I was like, I don't know. Then I was like, oh, like I could start up, you know, something from the backlog. Another part, I was like, oh, maybe I'll start Final Fantasy 3 on my Super Nintendo Classic there. And
I just thought of a great thing of what we should call the backlog. The Backlog Bayou.
Backlog Bayou.
I could pull something from the Backlog Bayou.
I like that a lot, actually, yeah. Well, my bayou's pretty full. But yeah, so then I was just sort of jumping around, and I couldn't, you know, put a finger on exactly what I wanted to play. And then I remembered I had Tesla vs. Lovecraft. And yeah, I was. Now this is a 10-ton shooter, twin stick shooter. So we've talked about these plenty. I know Perry also has been talked about Tesla versus Lovecraft. So
heck yeah,
I'm not going to get too deep into, you know, exactly the nitty gritty with it, but my experience with 10-ton was Judge or Jeej, and to be honest, I just didn't enjoy it. The structure of each mission and stuff, so I didn't really like that game. So I guess I didn't have the biggest motivation to want to jump into this game, you know? Mm-hmm. Even though that I knew that Judge was sort of the outlier.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, you know, you've heard me talk Neon Chrome, heard me talk Time Recoil, being like, I love these games, you know, but it's like the only thing that you've played is Judge, and you didn't like it, so... You know, where are you supposed to go with that?
Yeah, so that's why, and then also, like, the whole, like, oh, Tesla versus Lovecraft, like, I don't know, just...
Yeah, the aesthetic isn't appealing to me.
Exactly, so it's not something
I get it.
That, like, yeah, I look at it, I'm like, oh, man, that looks so cool. So, but anyway, so I get into it, and quickly I realized I was thinking all wrong, because this game is awesome.
Yeah.
You get into it, and I mean, I guess there's a story involved. Honestly didn't really pay attention to that too much.
Not really. I mean, there's not.
I think there's like a couple, like essentially sort of lay out what's happening, but it's like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But how it works is there are missions that you just run along, and it's a twin stick shooter, so you know, obviously your right stick's where you aim, your left moves you around. And when you get in there, I think the early missions or whatever, like, sort of get pieces to build up your mech to sort of be like, oh, look, you have a big mech that you could essentially just mow enemies down with. And then it ends up going forward that every time you're in there, like, pieces of this mech will just drop. I think there's 7 pieces. Maybe 6.
Yep.
7 pieces.
7. Yep.
And they randomly spawn on the map. So when you pick up all 7, then you can activate your mech and you can go, crazy on those people. But as far as like the campaign goes, you just go from mission to mission, and it's essentially just take out all the enemies. However.
Yeah.
And it's essentially.
Yeah, and you can go. I think you can pick any mission at any time. Pretty sure on that map.
Oh, can you? I just ran through.
Yeah. No. I mean, you just want to hit A and keep going, but you can like take the right control or one of the control sticks and just hover around and pick anything. It doesn't really make a difference, but
yeah. Well, I went through in order, and essentially you go through like there's the map. You go through all of the pinpoints on the map, and then there's like 3 different phases of that map, and it gets harder as you go.
Did you play through all of them?
I beat all of them on the first one, and then I think I'm like 2/3 of the way done on the second one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
yeah.
But what I find the most fun is actually just the endless mode, where you're just trying to score as much points as you can. Because to me, that's
tell me about that.
where it really becomes like a roguelike. But this game's a roguelite, because when you're going through the campaign and doing these missions, you start unlocking new things, and then those things carry over when you play in the I want to say rogue mode, but the endless mode, the score attack, where you have 1 life and you're essentially just trying to get high scores to compete on the online leaderboards. And I remember in the beginning, I was like, man, these levels are sort of easy and sort of slow-ish. Not necessarily slow, but just like they were simple. So getting through like 4 or 5 really easy ones felt like, it's like, man, I wish they just sort of ramp up the difficulty here. So I was jumping into that endless mode early on in the game, and I think actually both Justins, I think Justin Berube and Justin Nation both have it. Although I know Justin Nation definitely has it. But yeah, I was going through and I was getting like 20,000, and Justin was at like 80,000. And oh no, it's Guillaume. It's Justin Nation and Guillaume. And Guillaume had like a ton. He was at like 400K. And I was like, man, it's like, how am I doing so bad?
How am I gymming it so much?
I am the ultimate gym. But then that's where I realized progressing through the single player unlocks a lot of things to make it easier for the unlimited. So, of course, you're going to get more items, right, that you just unlock. So you have different guns dropping and different power-ups. But you can also collect these crystals, and you can spend those crystals on perks and stuff. So when you go into the menu where you could purchase these different things, there's one where you could shuffle your power-up. So every time you level up, you get an option between 2 different power-ups. I'll just ramble off a couple, like 20% or increased damage, increased fire rate, increased reload, regeneration of life, extra life, stuff like that.
Another barrel.
Yeah, yep. So if your gun shoots, 1, now it'll shoot 2, and you could keep stacking those. And it's really fun to sort of go through this, and that's where like the roguelite elements come in, because you never know what power-up you're going to get, and that greatly influences how it's going to work out. But it's cool because, you can buy like a shuffle option with your crystals, so then this way you have a certain amount of shuffles when you get that power-up. So if you don't like those 2 power-ups, you can shuffle it up, and hopefully you get a better one. There are like start with a random perk or ability, and there's different things you could sort of purchase, and obviously that goes into how your play style is. And for me, when I'm in that endless mode, it's like I want to get power up as fast as I can. I want that increased damage, I want that extra barrel, I want that faster fire rate, because then I'm going to be able to take the enemies out quicker, because it's a tight map, so it's like enemy control, I don't want to get hit a lot. I want to be able to control the enemies. So if you get a good gun early on and you've sort of powered up your actual firepower and how many bullets you're shooting onto the screen, now all of a sudden it's like these guys are falling quicker, And of course, as it progresses and you level up, they're going to be more difficult. And like, there's never going to be really a way to stay out in front of it forever. You know, like it eventually will get to a point where it's like, you know, it's getting murky out there. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. Like I said, I guess now I sort of get the appeal of the 10-ton shooter.
Yeah.
Because this, like I said, this game is just an absolute blast. I kept finding myself.
You gotta get Neon Chrome. Got to.
Yeah, I kept finding myself like, it's like, well, maybe I'll start something else, but then I'd be like, well, you know what, let me just go play a couple more levels of Tesla vs. Lovecraft.
Yeah. I was playing this on the plane to Boston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just such a good pick up and play game.
Yeah, because it's, like I said, it's pretty easy to get through the missions, and then like when you sort of get tired of doing just those little missions, it's like, all right, well, let me do a couple of endless runs. And now that you've made some progress in the single player, you're doing better in those other runs too, you know, and then you get to that, like, oh, that was a good one, but, you know, let me do one more. Let me see if I could top that score, you know, and I found myself sort of falling into that loop, which is obviously a good thing.
And that's cool that you're getting upgrades to make your scores better, right?
Oh, yeah, because I think my high score is like 150,000 now, give or take. So, yeah, you definitely notice as you unlock more things, it becomes easier, but it's still hard, you know, like you're getting better scores, but it's still getting very difficult towards the latter part. And like I said, I think Guillaume had like 400,000, so, you know, I'm still scratching the surface really compared to what I can be doing. So I feel like I'm probably going to continue to play this game just because it is one of those like, oh, just pick up and play a little bit, put it down and move on.
Yeah, there's like no reason not to. I mean, like, because there's so little commitment involved.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know?
Oh man, like I said, it's just if you are sort of turned off by like the aesthetic of it or like the Tesla versus Lovecraft, like I actually think the graphic, like in game, I think the enemies all look interesting and stuff, and it's fun. There are interesting monsters coming at you and stuff.
Well, and something you didn't talk about is how flawless the game runs. Yeah,
it's smooth.
I mean, it is like always 60 frames. Like and it looks so good. You know?
Yeah, it's totally got. It's gotten me interested more in the twin stick shooter, especially like the crazy ramped up one like this. You know, where all of a sudden it's like just hordes of enemies, and I should say you have like a dash ability, which is very important. So that's, you know, but that's on like a cooldown, and you only have a certain amount of charges. So it's fun to know when to utilize that.
Because that's the Tesla idea, right? Because you can like tell.
Yeah, you're like portaling over. But yeah, no, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It was took me by surprise.
You know, you said this kind of turned you on to twin stick shooters more, and it did for me too. Like that's why I kind of got Graceful Explosion Machine finally. I mean, even though that's not a legit twin stick shooter, it's the same kind of game.
Yeah, similar.
You know, so I know you're. It
actually got me. I was wondering now with Garage coming out soon if that might be something that would interest me.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm definitely interested.
But yeah, no. So definitely a very, very fun game that I would recommend checking out.
Awesome.
But moving along from what I've been playing, you've been playing a game. This is a game I've heard a bunch about, but I have no idea what it is.
Okay. Well, by now the review is actually literally right now the review is up on our site for this game. But what if I told you that we took Super Metroid and made it a roguelike?
Sounds pretty interesting.
Well, that's what this game is. That is a robot named Fight. Which is a very dumb name.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great. I don't get it. It's just a dumb name. No offense to the game, but it's really dumb. No. I'm just kidding.
It's asinine.
No, it's just, you know, it could be way cooler. It's not as cool as Super Metroid. But nothing is. No, but this game is actually, it's exactly what I just said. It is a Super Metroid roguelike. It looks like Super Metroid, with like, the pixel art. It controls just like it, feels like it. Little differences, little more modern improvements, but very similar. So you start with nothing, and it's actually a roguelite, I guess, because you're unlocking. Well, kind of, because you unlock new stuff, but you can't build up your character. You just unlock the ability for it to show up in the next run.
I'd say that's still sort of roguelite.
Yeah, it's like an upgrade system, but yeah. So really cool is because it no matter what, like each playthrough, you feel like you're accomplishing something because you unlock something, So there's like little missions, like you killed 315 enemies. You unlocked this thing, and it'll be available.
A peanut blaster.
Yeah, to get on your next run, exactly. And so for instance, like my first run, you're going through. You're like this apocalyptic city where like apparently they call them like meat monsters. Like they're just like monsters that are just like
those dirty meat monsters are on the loose.
Yeah, like you want to kill the meat, and but you're going around shooting stuff. It's just like Super Metroid, maybe a little more enemies. Not obviously not a sense of isolation here for the most part. It's more like more action. There's more enemies than usual. There's a little isolation, but it's not the same as Metroid. But you're picking up upgrades as you go, so you'll get I don't want to spoil. It might be slight spoilers if you want to skip ahead, people who want to play this game. But like for instance, my first playthrough, I got this little. I found like the equivalent of a morph ball, and what it is it's a little spider. And it's cool, like so now you just like press down, or it was maybe they mapped it to a button, and then you can walk around as a spider, and you can jump, and you can even shoot. It's really cool.
That sounds pretty cool.
I thought it was but it does the same thing as a morph ball, right? You can just get through smaller passages, but you can also shoot. You can't and the funny thing is you are a little spider thing, but you can't crawl up the wall like a spider ball, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I got that my first playthrough, but I never got it ever again.
That's
on my other playthroughs. So weird, right? Now I did get this other. Yeah, and I did get this like slide move where you can so you can still slide under some like small entrances and stuff, which is really cool. Actually, I think it feels really good. That'd be a cool move in a side-scrolling Metroid to have like a dash slide,
sort of like Mega Man X.
Yeah. And so yeah, this game. So once you die, it's it, and that's where I think it's like unfortunately it's not like it's pretty dang hard. Like and the thing is it doesn't feel like a normal roguelike / light, like in the sense of Goner. It's like if you get like Goner can take anywhere from like it's like how the run's gonna be a minute in, or
yeah.
So it's like if you want to restart, whatever. But this is like could be you're going for a half hour, and then you die, and then it's back to the beginning. So
there's a little bit of a commitment level then when starting a run.
Yeah, it's not like let's do it real quick. Yeah. Now there is some sort of save type system. I haven't gotten too much into it, but you can like do like the code input to maybe get where you were before or something if you want to do that.
Sounds like cheating.
I tried it and it didn't work, but I think I might not have done something. But so I think if you want to get to the end, there are ways, like there are even like save rooms, but I'm trying to think. I think I died and then I came back to that save room. And I can't remember, but then I died again, and then I couldn't infinitely do that. I remember that. So, but yeah, the game is, honestly, the game is really cool. I really was like super surprised by it. Because, first of all, I never heard of it. And then I was like, okay, the idea of a Metroid roguelite sounds cool. but it's like they're probably not gonna. It's probably not gonna look that good. You know, it's probably not gonna control. But it feels like Super Metroid, or at least what I remember Super Metroid feels like. You know,
Yeah.
which is all that really matters. I mean, you feel like you're controlling Samus and stuff. So, it's really cool. Now it just begs the question. It's like, does the Metroidvania, does that mix with the roguelite? Not as well as I think the other platforming genres mix, you know? Like, just for instance, you know, like, just coming off of Bomb Slinger. You know, I definitely feel like it is more balanced, just overall, Bomb Slinger is, than this game. But it's a lot more action and, you know, in this game too. So
Yeah.
it's really good.
I was to say Bomb Slinger could be a little bit slow paced.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And so, Zach Miller wrote the review for our site, and honestly, it is like spot on. Not that it wouldn't be spot on, but playing through it, it's like everything he said was exactly what I was thinking. So if you want a detailed,
breakdown
review, breakdown, check out the review of A Robot Named Fight on NintendoWorldReport.com. But we are going to move on to what you had mentioned before. You recorded a Patreon podcast, and so by the way, Nintendo World Report has a Patreon that you can support, and you will get exclusive content like this podcast that Casey recorded with. Who'd you record this with?
This month. So essentially, we call it the Patreon Plays
tell
podcast,
us about it.
And we do a voting. We open suggestions for a game, then we narrow it down to 4, then we vote on it between staff and Patreon members, and then that's sort of our game of the month. We do this every other month, where we all play it, and then depending on the tier level, which I think it's only like $5 a month. If you pledge $5 a month, you can have the opportunity to join us on the podcast. And normally it is myself and GX, who is a Patreon, and then Neil is usually on there. He's missed a few episodes, and we actually had the pleasure of being joined by Lemonade for this episode, because he is an absolute huge fan of the game we talked about, and that is Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie's Double Trouble.
Heck yeah! So we've both talked about this game already on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because it was released on the 3DS Virtual Console.
Yep.
Yeah, this game's amazing. I love it. I'm a huge fan of this game.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not probably going to talk too much about it, but yeah, I'd say it is often the forgotten game in the trilogy. You know, obviously, I think Donkey Kong Country 2 sort of usually gets the praise as being the best in the series. Then, of course, everyone loves the original.
Not from me.
Yeah, well, that's because you're Jimmy. So the third one sort of, like I said, sort of falls to the wayside. You know, obviously, the first one, you got Donkey Kong and Diddy, then you got Diddy and Dixie, and then for some reason, they're like, let's just get rid of both of them, and we'll roll with Dixie and Kiddy Kong, which is, I don't know, I forget if it is Funky's, I think it's Funky's nephew or something. I don't know. Funky makes Dixie take him along, and it's funny because Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong have gone to the northern Kremisphere, where they are now lost, and that's where our quest starts. You're on the troll to get those guys back, and
by the way,
yes.
He is the younger brother of Chunky Kong and cousin of Dixie and Tiny Kong.
Ugh.
And he's the youngest member of the Kong family.
Of the DK crew. But yeah, so I think, I replayed this when it came out on the Virtual Console for the 3DS. I did play it back in the day. I actually started playing on my Retron, my cartridge, and then all of a sudden it was being weird when I tried to play it again. So I switched back over to the 3DS version. But as far as the game itself, I think it's a very good game. there are some definitely
It's weird.
different things going on. Yeah, instead of just like moving along the map from, blip on the map to blip, you have some freedom to move around.
Like a jet ski.
Yeah, like a hovercraft, and then you get like a more badass one that can climb up waterfalls and stuff. And it doesn't add too much freedom. There's only so many things you could do, but it does open up when I think after the first 2 worlds, you sort of get an upgrade to your little ship there. You go up the waterfall, and then you can pick between a few different levels, or different worlds to go to. So it opens up and makes it a little less linear in that sense, but it's essentially, picking, I'm picking this world instead of that world first, so it's not really too crazy.
Right.
The levels themselves, I think, play out a little slower paced and a little more puzzle based, or I don't want to say gimmick because I feel like gimmick has a negative connotation to it, but like where you get into a level and you are climbing up a rope, but the bottom of the rope's on fire, so it's like, we got to keep climbing this. There's no time to stop.
Yeah.
There's the one where like the saw is coming up the treetops, from the bottom, and you need to again sort of keep up and not get hit by that. And even some of the animal, Ellie the elephant, she was sort of the replacement for the rhino who, when you think of the rhino, you think, okay, getting on the rhino,
Rambi.
I'm going fast, and I'm just going to slam everyone with my big horn, if they get in my way. Where Ellie the elephant's more like, let's sort of take it slow. I'm going to get some water in my snout from and I can shoot, water bullets at enemies. And
it's so weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a little strange, but it's different, but I like it, I mean,
it fits in with the whole, Donkey Kong Country, it just, from the beginning, was super strange.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of one of the earlier levels, and I mentioned this on the podcast, and I know Lemonade said it was his favorite level. I forget the names. He's much better at that than I am. But it was one of the earlier ones where you get in there and you actually need to kill enemies, which are little rats running on the wheels, and you need to kill those, and those open doors for you, and you're climbing your way up, and you're killing these enemies, opening more doors, and all of a sudden you get to the top, and then you crash through the floor, and you go all the way back down to essentially the very beginning of the level, where now the door is unlocked because you've killed all those enemies, So it just some cool level design, little different than, previous, I think, installments in the series. But, I mean, definitely a fun game. It's got some interesting bosses. My favorite, the snowman fight boss. Do you remember that one?
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, but definitely some fun bosses, a fun game. I mean, I think an interesting thing to note, when I was doing the research for this show, is that this game came out in November of 1996, and the N64 came out in September of 1996. So as you could imagine, sales were not as great as they would have liked. I think it was still like 3 million or something. But
that's insane.
Or maybe it was. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna look that one up while I'm here. But
yeah, no, figure that out because I remember seeing this at my neighbor's house, like being like, that's not Donkey Kong, and that's not Diddy Kong. Who are these?
Who
monkeys?
Are these crocs?
Yeah, no, that's what I never understood. What it's like. Because honestly, like, I love the original Donkey Kong Country because it has Donkey Kong in it.
yeah, it's funny.
Like, I love Diddy Kong. Don't get me wrong. It's like, it's so weird how they just took Donkey Kong out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's just nix him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually sold over 3.5 million units worldwide still, and that was actually the lowest in the series outside of Tropical Freeze for the Wii U. Which now I have a feeling will have a substantial boost, obviously not for the Wii U version, but for the Switch version. So I highly doubt Tropical Freeze will be the lowest selling. But yeah, I mean, it's funny to think.
It might go to highest selling.
Yeah, probably. It's probably a good chance. But it's funny to think the lowest selling is 3.5 million, or one of,
Yeah.
I mean, excluding Tropical Freeze. So, I mean, 3.5 million nowadays, I think it would be a pretty big success, especially coming out that late in the life cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I cannot wait for Tropical Freeze, which is like next week, right?
Friday, bro.
This Friday? Yep. Oh, heck. Yes.
I'm on the
Dude,
fence. I'm on the fence.
Oh, I'm not. I'm so all in.
I'm not on the fence in the sense of me not wanting to play, but I'm on the fence of trying to be a financially responsible human being.
Do it. Buy it.
Enabler.
Buy it. You know me. I'm the enabler.
Yep.
Well, do you have the sales in the financials?
Oh yeah, yes.
In the news. Okay, yeah, because like that's a really good point to talk about with this Tropical Freeze and it being the lowest sale on the Wii U and stuff. Yeah, cool, man. I love Donkey Kong Country. Apparently, David Lloyd doesn't like Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
so
I guess
we won't be hearing about David Lloyd.
Yeah, I was gonna say we
on
can
the show.
announce our. We've cut all ties with David Lloyd. What was our rival RPG podcast called again? The Unquenched Wizard or something?
Witch or something, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be coming
From
out
the
soon.
Thirsty Mage. We really should do that.
Yeah, make a pilot episode.
do-
And be like, oh my
No, yeah, we
god, this
should.
is so much better than the Thirsty Mage with that other Jimmy from Canada.
Then like people are saying that the Thirsty Mage is the Canadian version of the Unquenched Witch.
Some say it's the watered down version.
Watered down, thirsty.
Yes,
that was a
yes.
good one.
Yeah, but yeah, Donkey Kong Country 3, very fun game. But if you're in the mood
Okay.
for Donkey Kong Country, like Perry said, Tropical Freeze is coming out soon. And if you did not
Boom.
play it on the Wii U, and you have a Switch, and you like platformers, you should absolutely play Tropical Freeze.
Well, man, they'll be hearing about it next episode then.
Yep, probably from both
It's
of
coming
us.
out Friday.
But
Okay,
you've got another
well,
game, don't you?
Yeah, this one came today. I guess this one might be edited out if they send me an email being like, "No, don't talk about it." Well, it actually hasn't come out yet, but we got the codes today. And this is the Adventures of Elena Temple. It's a platformer that's made to look like it's played on the old systems. 7 virtual old machines, so such as like the Commodore 64, even Macintosh. There's Game Boy.
No, you mean some toy advanced?
Yeah, some toy. Yeah. Yeah, so, and what this is this game, so basically the game can be played with 7 different palette swaps that make it look like old systems. And how it plays is it's like so as you can see, I mean, it's called the Adventures of Elena Temple, right, for Switch. And this is on the Switch, by the way. I guess I should probably...
What else would you be
everything
playing?
I play is on Switch. 3DS.
Although I guess maybe you would be playing your PS3.
That's true. I was playing my PS3 this morning, which is really weird. I was sitting there with my PS3, connecting it to my Vita, looking at my Xbox 360
An alternative
and Xbox
timeline
One.
when Perry was a
Being like, what the
Sony
heck?
fanboy.
And then I went and grabbed a Pepsi out of my fridge. So I started the game today at work, and I beat it. While at work, I had a pretty long break, and then finished it a little after. And so this is a little game, but it's... So when I started it, I was like, okay, this is, really simple. I don't know what I feel about it. Like, that's how I felt when I started.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I really liked it that much, but it was like, okay, it's kind of cool. So you play as this rather tall sprite. That's what's so funny is like usually when you play these old games, your little character is small.
She's a tall drink of
This
water,
is like
huh?
tall. Yes. Yeah. And so you can run, you can jump, and then I really like this mechanic. kind of reminds me of Goner. You can hold 2 bullets. So there's these little bullets that are around. So you can hold 2 bullets for your gun at a time, and that's it. But you have to pick them up to shoot. So what this is it's basically a puzzle form, screen by screen, and so you're unlocking these screens as you go.
Oh, that's sort of cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and I didn't know anything about the game when I started, so I was kind of figuring this stuff out on the go. And so basically, like you drop down in this level, and so the idea is these are monochrome, so there's not a lot of color. That's why the palette swaps work pretty well. I played it on one that was kind of imitating like an old. It looked like it was on a computer, like a Dell computer. I don't really understand it. I just thought it was blue, like the colors are blue. So you drop down, and there's little enemies you can shoot, like bats and snakes, classic temple enemies, and then you're collecting coins, and coins, there's usually like 1 or 2 coins on each screen, so in each dungeon zone, or 3. I mean, there could be 3 or 4 even. You can find them by just seeing them and trying to touch them, or by breaking pots. They might have coins in them. So you want to get those, and then there are 8 diamonds hidden throughout the whole map. And that's the point of the game, is to go get those 8 diamonds, and the coins too. And then you go to the end. And that's it. So you're going around and you're collecting. It's just a kind of a collect-a-thon, and you're getting stuff. When you get hit, this is where it gets kind of janky, but kind of old school, because old school is kind of janky. When you get hit, it's just 1 hit kill, but it just bang, and it just
game over.
It just puts you back.
Spits you back to the front.
No. Yeah, it just puts you back to like where you were last touching ground.
Oh, okay. So not even in the beginning of the screen necessarily.
No. It's like instant go back. But the thing is like, it's not when you were last touching ground. I don't exactly know where it pegs you. I think there's certain spots in each map, in each square of map, that like once you
sort of like a like invisible checkpoint.
Yes. And these can get like bad, like, because you can spend your time like making your way through a lot of different what do you call them, like obstacles and stuff, spikes and stuff. And you'll get to the end, and then you die, and you gotta go restart at the opposite end, and it's like, it's like that feeling of, oh man, which is great, because I think they're going for that. It's an old school. The whole idea is it's an old school game,
a concentrated pill of nostalgia, as they say.
Yeah, it is, and and the cool thing is you can pick your flavor. I should have went with Game Boy. I didn't exactly know what was going on because
you done messed up.
I beat the game, and I really got really hooked into it. That's what I was so happy about, is like I started and I was like, oh, actually, like this feels really good, and the puzzles and the level design gets really neat and cool. Level like screen by screen, and the idea is there's exploring too, because like you're unlocking the map, so it's kind of like a maze too, because you can only get to certain areas by going through certain, like you can't just go up, down, left, right on every screen. Some screens you can only go left.
Yeah, so how they all
when you're looking at
together.
the map. So it's like I need to get to the screen right beneath me, but I can't get there, so I have to figure out how to get there like through the map. So, and there are also there's like secret tunnels and stuff. But so I didn't know exactly how the progression would work with the game, but basically once you can exit the game, and then you can jump into any of the other palette swaps and play the game. I played through it all in one game because I thought, well, maybe like there's a progression, like you start a new game, but you don't. So there's just really one game, and it's a palette swap, and it's pretty short. But I really did enjoy it. I liked the game, and I thought that because you know me, I'm a big fan of old school platformers,
Big Jim,
especially
yep,
like Game Boy. You know, like Bionic Commando, Gargoyle's Quest. And honestly, this game reminded me a very, very simplified version of Mutant Muds, actually. Really, the gameplay felt a lot like that.
Interesting.
If that, yeah. I mean, I like obviously if people play this and they're like, "What?" Like I don't get that. I could see people not understanding, but in a certain ways
This
it
doesn't
reminds
play
me
like Mutant Muds at all.
like yeah, like there's no speed variable difference. Like it's just one constant speed, you know. So
Yeah, it's methodical.
there's no and there's no momentum and stuff like that. So. And it's funny because I was playing them back to back and I was like, these are actually really similar. And then I was like, why do I think that? And then of course I get in and I go to Game Boy Land in Mutant Muds and like, oh yeah, these both have Game Boy modes in them, which I love.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the Adventures of Elena Temple. So you're playing as this girl going through a temple, and I really enjoyed it. So I believe that comes out May 15th.
Yes, sir.
So we'll cover it on the eShop Roundup for sure.
Yeah.
So, woo!
Speaking
But
of
that'll
which,
do it right for this segment.
yep. I was gonna say we gotta take a little breather here because of all of these games we
Oh
talked
my
about.
goodness.
Because we're gonna need a breather, isn't that right, Perry?
Oh man. Oh, we got 28 games in this roundup. So let's take a break and we'll come back and go straight through them. All right, we are back, and it is time to get into that.
The eShop Roundup. Yeehaw.
So for newcomers, this is where we run through what new games have come out in the past week on the American eShop.
And if this is your first one, you are in for a doozy.
It's a super one. Yeah, because there's 28 games, which might be a new record for
Some might
Switch.
just say that's too many games.
I think that might be a new record for Switch. So, yeah, that might be too many games, but we're gonna get cracking because we really need to, and we're gonna
Lightning round.
Lightning round. We're gonna go right here. So, number one, we have what is it, Casey?
Where are my friends? For
I know.
$5.99. Now
Yeah,
this is like a weird adventure platformer. The aesthetic is really cool. The art
so
design.
weird.
It's like
Everything looks different.
I think it sort of looks like the one screenshot looks like a big marker almost, or maybe that's a telescope. I don't know. Yeah, the art style is interesting.
Weird. I'm interested in this game. $5.99. Looks cool. But next up we have Glaive Brick Breaker for $9.99. And so this is like an Arkanoid game. I'm looking through the screenshots and that's all it looks like. Maybe,
Looks like expensive for a brick breaker game.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't look too
moving
good.
along here, we've got Hello Kitty Cruisers with Senrio friends.
That must be a different
Yeah, an ambitious crossover.
goodness.
For $29.95, and
this game looks like a Nintendo 64 game.
it looks smoother than that.
Barely.
But it looks a little bit like Diddy Kong Racing. I see airplanes, I see cars, I see boats, and I see a whole lot of
cupcakes.
apples.
Yep.
But
I
yeah,
see bow ties.
you know what? Like, I wonder how that game plays. I'll never find out for $30, but
Yep.
yeah,
You know Hello Kitty is not a cat?
it's a feline.
Did you know? No, but did you know that it's actually a human?
Is it really?
Yeah. The creator came
Weird.
out and said that. And I think about all the people I know who have, or that I've seen, have Hello Kitty tattoos, and I always tell them whenever I see that.
Yeah.
Did you know
That's
that Hello
really
Kitty's
a
a person?
You've got a
That's
person
weird.
tattooed on you.
You're weird. That's what I say to him. Now, this next one is Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. Now, you're going to see there's a common thread here, and let's just run through all of them, because Ultimate Ninja Storm 1, 2, and 3 came out on the eShop this last week. They're all $19.99, or you can buy, this is kind of cool, you can buy all 3 of them for $39.99. So buy 2, get 1 free.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal if you are interested in here. The trilogy, save $20.
Yeah, the games look really nice. I mean, like from the screenshots and stuff. And they're fighting games. So anyway.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
Now
next up, what
moving
do we
along
got?
here. Yes, I'll let you take it because I'm not quite sure how to say it.
I'm gonna say Goetia.
Goetia.
Goetia. Goetia. Goetia.
Goetia. I don't know.
Anyway, it's
These
a
dang
point-and-click
names.
adventure where you play the ghost of a young lady. You are Abigail. Abigail Blackwood.
You are Abigail.
I just like how it says, you are Abigail, period. Abigail Blackwood, period. So, the nice stop and pause. Yep, $9.99. It looks like a standard... It's really cool looking, actually. Side-scrolling. The graphics are pretty cool. Side-scrolling adventure point-and-click, so... So, Casey, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, my favorite genre. Only second to this one, Another Lost Phone, Laura's Story for $5.99. Now I'm looking at the screenshots, and they are literally it's like this must have been a mobile game to start, and they
know that the whole point of these games are it's like a lost phone, and that you're looking through someone's phone.
But do you know if it came out on like a mobile phone too? Because I feel like I'm looking at the screenshots and like
I'm sure.
Yeah, because I'm looking.
Oh no yeah, but I just mean the. Yeah.
Gotcha. Because the screenshots are showing just literally like just like what a phone would look like, but like they didn't put any doctoring up on the side, like any sort of border. So it's just like a gray background with like a phone down the center.
Right.
But yeah. I guess, like you said, this is sort of like a puzzle, sort of social life
it's
game
mystery game, so
interesting.
$5.99. But next up we have, it would not be a week hadn't been for this that came up. And actually, this one looks kind of cool.
This one looks bad. Ooh, in a good way.
Neo Geo Ghost Pilots, which is like the coolest name I've ever heard.
Yeah, we were talking about some rough names earlier.
Just
and
got the mustache, with the tanks.
He's not.
That's
he's
Cassie
not messing
Gibbons. Around. Dude, the graphics look so good.
Yeah, no, this looks like a really fun game.
So this is like a top-down scrolling shmup. Yep. So yeah, Ghost Pilots from '91. So if that gives anyone a hint. So not a super early Neo Geo game because they. Well, I guess Neo Geo, I'm thinking of arcades.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we've had like games on here like from like 81.
Yeah, the Neo Geo, then you get ones from like mid-90s and stuff. But continuing to get through all these games here, we've got Lightfall, which is a game we've talked about.
We met with them.
Yep, we saw at PAX, we had the interview and stuff, and it was on the Nindy Spotlight. It is now out for $14.99. Platformer, where you could sort of
looks cool.
Spawn your own little platform as you're running around, and it has really atmospheric areas. Some
very
really cool
gorgeous
stuff.
It's kind of like Limbo and Fia put together.
Yeah, it's an interesting and I think apt comparison.
Thank you. Now, this next game we have is Agatha Knife for $11.99. If we don't buy cheese, we won't be resurrected.
And that's all you need to know about that one.
Believe in carnivorism.
Next up here,
I just want to leave it there.
Yep, that's what we're leaving it at. We've got too many games to get through. Next up here, we've got Sparkle Zero for $4.99. I'm trying to think. At first, I was thinking it was one of those Sparkle. Aren't there a bunch of Sparkle games that are sort of like Match 3? I thought this is a different thing. Yeah, this is something that looks way different than that.
Yeah. So
Many organisms fight for resources and the opportunity to evolve. Be one of them. Start from zero and become the best, the biggest, and the most efficient of them all. Become the ultimate sparkle. We're leaving on that note.
Next up, we have Saturday Morning RPG, and now this price is interesting to me because this is $9.99 on the eShop, and this is published by Limited Run Games on the eShop. Now, if you buy this physically, it is not $9.99.
What's it, $29.99?
Yeah. But this is a very interesting looking game with many different art styles and things. So, does this interest you at all, Mr. RPG guy?
No, sirree, Bob.
Why doesn't it interest you?
I don't know. I just never really, I don't know.
But it's weird. Why wouldn't that interest you?
I don't know. I just look at it, and I don't want to say it looks cheap or anything, but I don't know. It just doesn't...
Not up your alley.
Doesn't jump off the page at me, you know?
Yep. Well, this next game should jump off the page to you, because it's not really a game, but it's a Late Shift.
But it's a late shift. That sounds terrible.
Late Shift is the name. No. For $12.99, this is... you will hear about this game next week. This is another FMV game. You will hear about it next
from
week.
the people that brought you Bunker, right? The Bunker?
The Bunker, yeah. And I've heard really good things about Late Shift, so... And there's a review on the website if people want to read about it now, so...
Yes. Now, moving along, we've got Sky Rogue for $19.99. Sky Rogue is a floozy roguelite action flight simulator.
Oh.
Frooshy.
Flooshy, not floozy.
You're a floozy.
Flooshy. I like that. Flooshy. F-W-O-O-S-H.
Yeah, I sort of...
action.
Sort of cool looking. I mean, the graphics, it seems like each area is very committed to like one color scheme.
Yeah.
And
but it has like Joy-Con motion too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard I think good things about this from good old Justin Nation.
I've heard things about this.
Yeah, I have. Moving on, I think we have the cheapest game yet. That's payable. Sky Piece for 99 cents. Side-scrolling action game where it looks like you're flying on or you're like on a
flying surfboard.
A surfboard, and you're collecting stuff, and it kind of looks not bad.
I was actually gonna say it for 99 cents. It gives me the Kid Trip vibes to it, you know, where it's like it might be sort of a small experience.
Ninja.
Yep, Ninja Striker or Night Terror.
Striker, yeah.
Night Terrors, I think.
There you go.
Yeah, no, this looks sort of like a cool little game. 99 cents. What could go wrong?
Really, you're right, actually.
Next up, a game we just talked about, a robot named Fight, and that clocks in at $12.99.
$12.99, yeah, that's a good deal. That's a good game. If you like Metroid, gameplay and think that combined with the roguelite could be fun, get it.
They heard you before, Jimmy. We got games.
You're taking more time right now. Next up, we have Korg Gadget for a Nintendo Switch. And this is a music production studio. I want this. And maybe I should request a review code and review this for the site.
What a Jimmy price, right? Though.
I know, it's $48.
Why? Why?
Play games, make music. A music creation studio that feels like a game.
That's. I mean, it looks cool. Like it has like the synthesizers and stuff, and
yeah.
I wonder that
Switch would be perfect for. I mean, you know, the Korg has been always doing this stuff, like with DS. Remember, they had the couple DS ones. They had like a DSi enhanced, one of those DSi enhanced games, which is so weird. Do you remember those?
I don't think so.
So there was DS games. They actually made physical DSi games that were only playable on DSi, that like used the camera and stuff.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird? But then like Korg was like a DSi enhanced game that used whatever. So anyway, but yeah, they've always been on Nintendo stuff, so it's kind of cool. But moving on, we have Snow Moto Racing Freedom for $39.99.
What a title!
This is Yeah. This is a snow. What do you call it? Snowmobile. Right. That's what you call those, right? Mm-hmm. It looks nice from the screenshots.
Are those screenshots though? Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, like the one's definitely not. I don't see any like UI or anything, so I wonder if that's indicative of what the game might actually look like.
Yeah. But we can move on.
Next up here, we've got, I'm going to skip a few of those games because we've already talked about those. Bouncy Bob for $4.99. Now this is right here, like an action platformer, but it's also a party game, right? Like I think co-op kind of deal.
I guess it's hilarious couch co-op with a pinch of darkness.
Interesting.
So yeah, looks weird. Moving on though, also for $4.99 is Save the Ninja Clan. It's a platformer for casual players as well as speedrunners. Yeah, looks yeah, it looks kind of like Super Meat Boy with like simpler graphics. Yeah.
Next up here, another water sports game, Aquamoto Racing Utopia for $39.99, and this is a jet ski racing game.
Obviously from the same people.
Yeah, and again, the screenshots, like I don't know if they're really screenshots. They look pretty nice, but yeah, up to 8 players. I guess if you're sort of having that wave race sort of itch to you, you might be worth checking out. $39.99.
If you want to get not to poop on this game, but if you want a jet ski, I would get Riptide for $10. It's a fourth of the price, and it's really good, and it has split screen stuff. So anyway,
boom boom.
Next up, we have Drago Dino for $9.99.
I love the name.
Yeah, it's a cool looking game. I mean, the screenshots aren't.
Yeah, it's a nice art style
they're
to
nice, it. Yeah, nice colors, nice looks like hand painted. Meet Bob, a cute Drago Dino, and guide him through 10 levels of the Forest Kingdom in a quest to recover his lost egg stuck atop a giant tree. So there you go. Looks cute.
Next up here, we got 12 Orbits for $1.99. What's this? Game. Some sort of puzzle game or some sort? I'm not.
It looks like it. It doesn't require any prior knowledge, though. Apparently.
Or preparation time.
Yeah, your left and right Joy-Con, or even the touchscreen alone, all you need for any number of players. So
it actually looks more like a part. Yeah, 2 to 12 players.
The simple rules and only one button per player. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks very simplistic in nature, but I wonder how deep and how fun it could be. For $1.99, that might not be a bad game to sort of keep on your radar. I know you sort of end up having little shindigs with friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So next up, we have Jotun Valhalla Edition. I believe that Pure Evil sent me the correct pronunciation on how to pronounce Jotun, and it's Jotun.
Is that what I said? Was I the one who said Jotun?
Yeah.
Just want to let everyone know for the record. This game, $14.99. You wrote the review for this game for the website, right?
I did.
So, I mean, I know you talked a little bit.
Check out my review and check it out on my video review on Nintendo World Report TV.
Ooh-wee. And now we've got a Jimmy Award for this next game, and I'll tell you why in a second. Super Sorio Fly. So is that how you pronounce that?
Sario.
So this game, $15.95.
Why?
You earned yourself a Jimmy Award.
Yep. Yeah.
The first annual Jimmy.
Jeez.
But yeah, I guess as far as what the game is, looks like a platformer. Looks like you're sort of a pterodactyl of some sort. So I guess you have obviously some flight options. I don't know if it would be unlimited or whatever. But I mean, honestly, the game doesn't look terrible.
No, like it's kind of inconsistent. The art is a little inconsistent, but Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Interesting.
But for $15.95, sorry.
Just make it $15.99.
Just make it $14.99 like the rest of them.
Yeah. Now, last up on one of the longest eShop roundups we've ever had, Animal Super Squad for $9.99. This game looks insane, actually. You're like a chicken inside of a toilet on a four-wheeler, I think.
Yeah,
Is that what that is?
I think you hit the nail on the head.
This game looks awesome, actually. Like, the art looks great.
Physics-based adventure with community-driven content.
Really?
So yeah, create your own levels, share them with the community, or forget all that nonsense and just play other people's stuff.
Oh, man. This might have to be picked up by Perry.
And that's how Perry bought a whole bunch of games during the longest
Yep.
eShop roundup of all time.
That's a great end to this.
Although I tell you what,
eShop roundup.
it might have been long in games. I think we made it through in a pretty good time.
I think we did a good lightning round, huh?
Yeah, for once. I feel like normally we get a little lackadaisical in our rushed approach, but no, I think it went well.
I like saying lackadaisical.
It's a good word. It's a good word.
That is.
You know,
it's
it's
like
one of my
custom
favorite
ability.
words.
What?
Penultimate.
That is a good one.
Makes you sound way
Yeah.
smarter than I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta trick the
Anyway.
people.
Anyway, we have a special surprise Villa de Discount.
Villa de discount. Villa de discount.
Yes, this is real quick, but I just wanted to say Totes the Goat is on sale, 20% off, making it $3.99. Really fun, great game. Q-Bert-like game. Check out that game on the eShop. Totes the Goat.
Boom,
And
boom.
I think that's it for the Villa de Discount. Of course, Rocket League is still there.
Yeah,
But,
it'll never stop amazing me how just Rocket League continuously is in the top sellers. And it just blows my mind how I don't know who doesn't have Rocket League anymore and who continuously is buying it.
Well, the people who are continuously buying Switches, you know.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
part of it,
But
right?
I mean that's true, but it's just funny that Rocket League it just somehow continues to get keeps charting.
I know, it's awesome.
But
What are we doing now?
it is time for the old
News Talk with Casey Gibson.
Yes, sir. Now, the last few weeks have been pretty dry over on the old news block. Little bits here and there, but thank goodness for the old shareholder press conference or meetings, whatever you want to call it. Because we got a whole bunch of news from that. And the first one, I guess, a little bit of a shocker, but also sort of makes sense that Nintendo now has a new president, or will, once Kimishima retires
Yeah, let's
in
not
June.
jump the gun here.
Am I jumping the gun?
Well, you said they have a new president. Not yet.
Yeah, they have the successor waiting in the balance.
Mm-hmm.
And the successor, and I'm sure I will get better at pronouncing this name, Shintaro Furukawa. I think that was pretty
was
decent.
great.
Furukawa. He is currently a board member for Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, and what's notable about him is that he's only 46 years old, so a shift. Obviously, Kimishima was pretty old. I think he's in his 70s. So I think
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure he's up there in age, because that's why I was thinking that they must have. He's 68, so they must have sort of been like, you'll go in the interim while we sort of figure out a long term plan, once with the passing of Iwata. So that's exciting news. I mean, I don't know how much it will change the day-to-day operations of Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, like they knew from the beginning that he was gonna be, whatever you call it, like temporary, in between. But yeah, this is cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of involvement he has already with Nintendo. So, like, be interested to see if there's going to be any sort of change at all. So
Yeah, I mean, I think for the immediate, probably not. I would think, if anything, you will start to see his fingerprints, on the successor to the Switch. Because I feel like at this point, they probably already have a game plan down for what they ideally want for the entirety of the Switch's life. And obviously things will change and things don't always go according to plan. But I gotta imagine they have an idea of what they want to do. And sure, he might be able to, sort of change that plan up a little bit. But like I said, I think it would be something more down the road. You start to really see where he sort of wants to take things. But
But let's move on to some, I think, more exciting news.
Yes. Now, with the shareholder meetings, of course, those shareholders, they want to feel good about their investment, right? They want to hear numbers, and they want to hear big ones. And luckily, unlike the Wii U days, the Switch is delivering those big numbers. I've got a ton of numbers here, so we will go down them all. First, 17.79 million Switches have been sold. I think they said over 15 of that was in the first fiscal year, which, it's like we've talked about this before. That's more than the Wii U sold in the 4+ years it was out. Obviously the Switch is selling gangbusters and hopefully can continue its pace. But the only thing I think more exciting about a lot of Switches being sold is that the software is matching those sales. We already have 12 games that have sold over 1 million units on the Switch.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's pretty crazy. Do you want to... Maybe we'll alternate going down the numbers here?
So the best-selling game on Switch is Mario Odyssey.
How many units?
10.41 mil. Yeah, that's crazy.
And if you think about that, that game came out in October. So it's, I mean, at this point, I guess a little over a half a year it's been out, right? So, man.
Yeah. Yep.
And that game's gonna
awesome.
That game's gonna sell till the day the Switch dies. So.
And after. Yep.
Yeah. Then we've got Breath of the Wild, 8.48 million units on the Switch. I don't have it written down here, but I think another 2+ million were sold on the Wii U, so it's over 10 million total. And that is the best-selling individual Zelda title.
I don't know what that means.
So that means...
What do you mean?
So that means, like, how...
Ever?
Yeah.
So that sold more than Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Ocarina of Time, how many... I'm trying to think... hold on.
Like, if we're just talking about just the 64 version.
Yeah, that's what I think they mean by any individual. So, like, you wouldn't count Breath of the Wild Wii U sales into that number, you know what I mean? So it would. So that's what that means. But now I'm trying to see lifetime sales.
That's crazy to me. But while you're checking that out,
here we go.
Mario Kart. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Ocarina of Time for N64 sold 7.6 million.
Wow, isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Breath of the Wild is the best-selling Zelda game ever.
Yeah, because I'm looking at all of... Yeah, I've got a list here now of all of it. Where, see, now, if you go The Legend of Zelda and you can count NES Classic Edition, which is funny, the Famicom Mini for Game Boy Advance and the regular one, it sold over 9 million. But if just for the NES, it was only 6.5 million. So, therefore, yeah, Breath of the Wild on the Switch...
crazy.
Ooh, it's just inching out. Twilight Princess was up there too. But anyway.
Yep.
Yes.
Crazy. And well deserved. Now, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Why would they re-release Mario Kart 8 on the Switch?
Just make a new one.
Yeah. Or they could release it and sell more than they did on Wii U, which I think was like the top seller on the Wii U.
Yeah, I can't imagine that anything outsold that.
Maybe New Super Mario Bros. U, but I don't think so.
But yeah.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 9.22 million, and that's almost a million more than what it sold on Wii U.
But now,
Insane.
I was going to say, think of that, like, oh my goodness, you know? That's almost, by the time the Switch is over, that's going to easily, you know, eclipse 20 million, easy. Probably 25, you know, combining with the Wii U. You know, I could see Mario Kart 8 Deluxe getting up to like 20 million. Because, again, that's a game that's just going to keep on selling. Anyone who buys a Switch is going to want Mario Kart, you know?
Right. I know. It's awesome.
And I'm looking at the best-selling Wii
Mario
U
Kart 9.
is Mario Kart 8, then new Super Mario Bros. U at 5.75.
Well, there you go. Yep.
But, yeah, continuing along, I mean, some of these you were to expect to have some big numbers, but as we go down here, you're going to start seeing some that are, you know, frankly, pretty surprising. Splatoon 2 is not one of them. That's expected to sell well, and that has sold 6.02 million.
Heck yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's great stuff, too.
Deserves it. Now, speaking of deserving it, this next one does not deserve it, which is 1-2 Switch, which is 2.29 million.
Isn't that absurd?
Sold.
Yeah. Why would anyone pay full price for this game? Well, you've got 2.29 million people out there. I mean, I'm sure not all of them spent full price, but
right.
Pretty. I mean,
Crazy.
that's just, I guess, the boost of being a launch title.
Absolutely.
Xenoblade 2, 1.31 million.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's for sort of
huge.
A niche RPG that came out at a weird time too. You know, that early December.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they are probably very happy with that.
Well, I don't know if early December is a weird time.
Well, it's sort of after Black Friday, you know what I mean? Like, you feel like you normally want to be out there with that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. And ARMS has sold 1.85 million.
Woo-wee.
Good for that. That's almost 2 mil.
This next one took me by surprise. Pokken Tournament sold 1.16 million. And I don't know how well that sold on the Wii U.
I'm telling you, it's because of the Pokemon.
Oh yeah, for sure. But and it's a pretty fun game.
I'm just saying, like I see, like I'll see Switches on Craigslist that have Pokken. You know, they'll have Zelda and Pokken. So
the power. Oh, just wait till Pokemon, like a full real title comes out.
Oh man. I know it's gonna be crazy.
This next one surprised me too. Although maybe it shouldn't have.
Well, I don't know. This is like the best selling. Okay, Kirby Star Allies, with 1.26 million in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And this game wasn't. I read somewhere that this was like the fastest selling Kirby of all time and the biggest launch of all time.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if you just got your Switch and you're sort of. I mean, there's been plenty of games, obviously, you know, especially in the indie scene and all that. But if you're looking for sort of marquee Nintendo titles, you know, this was the first one of the year, and you know, Kirby's cute and cuddly, and who doesn't love Kirby? But yeah,
exactly.
Great sales. So Switch software sales total for the fiscal year, 68.97 million.
Mm-hmm.
Not too scabby.
Nope. And don't forget about the 3DS. For Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon combined got 7.51 million units sold.
Isn't it funny? Like a re-release, like not a re-release, but like an enhanced version of a game that probably sold like 10 million on its own. Sells another 7.5.
Insane. It's insane. Yep. And it sold like, you know, that would be their fourth best selling game last year.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Crazy.
Now, of course, we also get all the information about E3. You know, they're sort of their plans for how it's going to work out. So
it's coming up, Case.
I know, 6 weeks.
Woo!
I need to put in my request for work.
Yep, I just did that today.
Yeah, I'll probably do that tomorrow. And if I don't get it, I'm quitting. Yes, so Splatoon 2 World Championships, the opening rounds will be June 11th, which will be the Monday, and the finals will be June 12th. The video presentation, as they dubbed it, aka what we would normally, call a direct, we will get to look at all the Switch titles for 2018, including Smash Brothers. That starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time on that Tuesday, June 12th. That would be noon Eastern time.
Dude, how crazy! So in 6 weeks, we're gonna see Smash Bros.
Yeah, I saw a post on the Smash Bros. Reddit that was like, next month we're gonna find out all about Smash Bros.
That's crazy.
And you know what's the strangest thing about it is just it is such a different release from what we've become familiar with the Smash Brothers franchise. Where it's usually they're gonna drip feed us little teases. Here's a screenshot. Here's this to keep that hype going. This is just gonna be like, hey, Smash for Switch is coming out this year. 2 months later or 3 months later, here is everything you need to know about it.
And it's out on the eShop right now.
Oh, God, I hope not. Could you imagine?
No,
but
that would be crazy.
But yes, they'll also have 3 days of Treehouse Live, as we, again, have sort of become accustomed to, with gameplay with Treehouse members and devs. And they note that Treehouse Live will start off with Smash Bros. So we're gonna get down and dirty with Smash Bros. This E3.
Oh, please, Waluigi. Please.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a good one.
Please, Waluigi. Who's your number one pick?
Oh, for an extra person?
Yeah, like if you could have any character, what would it be?
Man, I really haven't thought about it much.
You haven't thought about that?
Maybe Chibi Robo. I'd love
Chibi Robo. Oh man, that would be amazing.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That's a great pick.
Now, it's because he's sitting on my light and he's looking over at me.
I was just gonna say, is that because you looked over and saw the amiibo?
Yeah, and he's like, Casey, come on, Chibi Robo for Smash. And I'm like, all right, bruh. But yeah, there'll also be the Smash Bros. Invitational, and that will start right as the conclusion of the Splatoon finals on that Tuesday, June 12th as well. And they noted that they'll only be talking about games coming out in 2018. So that begs the question, are we going to see Rare's game this year? Retro's game this year? Do you think Retro's... It seems like it's due, right? But man...
Dude, I feel like... Okay, this is what I feel like. I feel like Retro isn't a game studio anymore.
Yeah, they're done.
They have been scared to tell people that they aren't making games anymore because Tropical Freeze like bombed on the Wii U or something.
But
I just can't imagine them I can't imagine they're making a game.
But the thing is, like, it was critically acclaimed and it's going to sell so many copies on the Switch.
Which doesn't that make you feel so good? Like, I always hated that Donkey Kong didn't get its love. He didn't get his the love that he so deserves on that amazing Wii U game. I mean, Cranky Kong, oh man. But yeah, remember sitting in there playing Funky and Cranky Kong?
I sure do. Yep.
And Nintendo.
That was good.
That was good stuff.
But yeah,
wow.
That's
E3, but now this next part is very exciting because it could be happening any second now.
Or it could be very disappointing.
True. Just like Christmas, right? Christmas Eve, it's very exciting.
Oh, but
Christmas could be disappointing.
I tell you what, thanks to my mom's, Christmas was pretty much never disappointing. But
it was never first of all, yeah.
My mom,
maybe when I was little.
My mom always pulled through in the clutch and got those games I wanted. So, but yeah,
thank you, Mrs. Gibbons.
I love you, Chris. So online details will be coming potentially very, very soon, as you alluded to. They reconfirmed during the shareholder presentation that news of the online details will be coming in early May. So they didn't give an exact date. or anything to that extent, but it's safe to assume probably within the next week or so that we'll have a good idea of exactly what's going to happen. And I believe it's still slated for a September launching. We'll see. With Animal Crossing,
Let's hurry
remember?
up, Nintendo. Let's go. Oh, dude, if they show Animal Crossing at E3.
Please.
Oh.
That'd be awesome.
Please. Yeah. But you know what's funny? It's like, you know what, though? Like, even if they don't, it'll be coming. And I can save it for next year.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I actually just changed the wallpaper on my phone to that awesome, like, the Animal Cross print, you know what I mean? Where it's got, like, the furniture, and then it's got, like, the apple and the house, like, wallpaper.
Yeah, you mean like Jill's 3DS?
Yes, exactly like that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So good. But yeah, this next one's sort of
Animal
interesting. I feel like this would have been news that would be like earth-shattering, but now it's just sort of like, oh, okay. Nintendo has a new mobile partnership. They are partnering with Cygames, which is a primarily Asian-focused developer. Nintendo has a 5% stake in Cygames' parent company, and their first title, which is an original action RPG called Dragalia Lost, will be releasing this summer in Asia, but no other dates have been given for any other regions. So will it come out everywhere else? We don't know. We're going to have to sort of wait and see, but that's interesting. Yep. An original action RPG.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's both completely uninteresting to me.
Yeah, it looks sort of like a generic, from the few screenshots I saw. I should say I didn't look too much into it, but yeah, it looks sort of like, that looks like a phone game. But,
right.
Yeah. This next one's interesting, though.
Yeah, so FIFA 18 is adding World Cup in May 29 update. So at the end of the month, where national teams will update their World Cup rosters and a new stadium and ball options will be added. That's cool.
Yeah, what's, I think, potentially the most interesting thing to take away from this is, obviously EA has never been afraid to just sort of cut ties if things aren't going well, right? Where they like, our games don't sell on the Wii, like, screw the Wii U, screw Nintendo, like, we're only doing it because we want to make money kind of thing, which is understandable. Like, I get the business side of it, right? Now, if they're coming back and adding this free update in here for the FIFA 18 players on Switch, that must mean they're trying to cater to an audience, so maybe it sold pretty well. Maybe they are appreciating how it's playing out on the Switch, and maybe that's going to mean we're going to see more EA games. Maybe fingers crossed. Am I going to get to play as my boy Darnold dropping bombs in Madden on the Switch? Please? God.
Yeah.
It's like, that would be awesome.
That's
What's interesting to me.
Yeah. I never play EA games, but I did play one today.
Is it Mirror's Edge?
Yeah.
I should also note that there will be a way to add the Team USA into the World Cup because they didn't make it. Isn't that embarrassing? The United States failed to qualify for the... And, like, I totally get that we're not, like, the world's best soccer players, Like, I know, generally, like, you get into the tournament, you have a couple games, you sort of get bounced. But to not even qualify,
it's kind of embarrassing, but also...
Bobby, I didn't think I'd ever need to tell you this, but I would be a bad parent if I didn't. Soccer was invented by European ladies to keep them busy while their husbands did the cooking.
Why do you have to hate what you don't understand?
I don't hate you, Bobby.
I meant soccer.
Oh, yeah, I hate soccer, yes.
I don't hate you, Bobby.
Anyway, we have a few more news bits
to wrap
in
us
this
up here.
block. And one of them is Ikaruga is coming to the Switch.
Oh,
what in the heck
baby.
at the end of the month?
I am in. Are you in?
I don't know yet. I'm not sold.
Oh, I am.
Just because, well, it'll be $15. Obviously, one of the big things with Ikaruga was that you could play it in the Tate mode, right? Like even on the GameCube, where you could flip your TV on its side.
Yeah, I know. How funny
play
is
it
that?
vertically. But now you can do that a lot easier on the Switch.
And your hoary PlayStation.
It'll have online leaderboards as well.
Yeah, this is a game that my buddy Kevin, and I've definitely mentioned him before, where he's sort of, his brother was older than us, and that's sort of, he would bring all these cool games home and we get to check them out, and that's where I learned about a lot of games that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, and Ikaruga was one of them, and it was like, oh man, this game is so much fun, and I haven't played it in so long.
Okay, so you have played this before.
Yes, yeah. I never...
Gotcha.
Actually, I might have owned it. I forget if I bought it or not, but I've definitely played it, and yeah, I'm totally in.
Nice. Well, it's only $15, so
Well, that's the beauty of it. Yeah, it's...
I'll listen to what you have to say, and then I'll make a judgment and buy.
Alrighty.
But go ahead and take this next one. This is a game that a lot of people like.
I don't even... Lumens?
Luminous?
Whatever. Lumines?
Or I guess I don't know.
Lumines comes out on June 26th. I know a lot of people were excited about this game. I've never played it, but it was one of those ones where even watching some, not primarily Nintendo centric outlet, like they were all like, "This game is incredible. I'm so excited for this to come out."
I know that Big Justin Nation, he loves
Big J Dog.
So, Big J Dog, the Mutation Nation.
Old Man Nation. But yeah, I figured we'd close out on an interesting little topic, and obviously we've talked about some Donkey Kong and Tropical Freeze. Now, if you were hoping, with all of this talk, to jump back onto your Wii U eShop, pick up Tropical Freeze on the Wii U because you don't want to spend the $60 on the Switch version, you are out of luck. They have taken Tropical Freeze off the Wii U eShop. Now, presumably this is because it was a Nintendo Select, so it was like down to $20.
Right. Are you sure it's off? I just mentioned, Donald said something today.
Yeah, I saw that he said it was back up, but then for certain people, but then they were failing to replicate it. So I'm wondering if it just sort of snuck through or something.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at it right now on Nintendo's website, and yeah, no mention of Wii U anywhere.
And like, I guess, I mean, it makes sense, right? But it just seems a little dirty and not worth the negative publicity for like the very few people that would be like, well, I'm not buying, like, if they're not going to buy on the Switch, they're not going to buy on the Switch, right? But like, if they wanted to give you $20 to buy it on the Wii U, you'd think you'd take it.
Yeah, it is very strange. Very strange.
So make sure to grab your Captain Toad on the Wii U because that's a Selects game as well, right? Or maybe it was just... No?
It was always cheaper. It came out at $39.99, but you can get it cheaper now.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that's going to bring us to the end of the old news block, and that's going to bring us to the end of the show here. I know we've got some housekeeping things to get into, but, yeah, I think we did pretty well considering it was a dense episode as far as content. I was worried about how long we might go, but I think it might actually be right in that nice sweet spot, tucking in under 2 hours.
Yep. We didn't have a show topic this week. Alex came last week, and we felt that his performance was worth the we couldn't just do another show topic. It was worth 2 weeks of a performance. So anyway, I would like to know what people thought of Mystery Reverse. I've heard some good things from some people that they liked it. But I thought it was a lot of fun. What did you think, Casey?
I thought it was miserable.
I mean, you won.
I mean, no. Yeah, no, I thought it was...
you won, so I know you liked it.
Yeah, I think it was the best segment we've ever had.
If you would have lost, you would have been like, "Oh, I hated it."
I demand that we never play that crap game again. No, it was interesting. I would definitely not be against doing it again sometime in the future.
It's a good guest game, I think. You know?
Yeah, and it's snappy, gets into it, and
unless I create them, and then I play against you.
well, that would just be
This
cheap.
is Zelda Oracle of Ages.
No, it's not.
I would still lose to
Yeah.
you because I never beat you at games ever. Actually, I do beat you at games. The only times I beat you at games are when we're recording Talk Nintendo Challenge.
And you know why? It's because it's like I know I'm pretty decent at beating you up, so I got to let you have some limelight.
I
as
really
well.
appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I know that's a bold-faced lie because if you're gonna win, if you can win, you will win, especially on camera.
Well,
But speaking of Talk Nintendo Challenges, they are back. Nintendo World Report's Talk Nintendo Challenges are at NWRTV. It's where Casey and I get together and play a game and challenge each other to win or lose. And we put our first one up last week, right?
there was a little snafu. It will be up now. If you're listening to this episode, it will be up there to
I
check
just realized
out.
I was like, I don't.
And
The first one will be up this week.
And it doesn't necessarily always have to be what you would consider a competitive game, you know? Like, it's not always going to be a Smash Brothers or a Splatoon where it's like, yeah, the games are sort of meant to be played competitively. For instance, the first episode is actually Shovel Knight, a race of the first world. So it's actually, you know, we try and change it up, and I think it's it's usually a pretty fun time, and I think it's worth the watch. So yeah, over there on NWR TV on YouTube, as well as the reviews we do. You know, we usually make videos for them, as well as other content as well. So I think it's definitely worth checking out over there.
Heck yeah. And I think that'll bring us to the end of the old Talk Nintendo episode
85. 85 in the bucket.
Yeah, in the bucket. We've kicked, and let's kick it.
That one note, that first part of heaven didn't want to come out there. Those dirty meat monsters are on the loose. I didn't know this part of the story. Become the ultimate Sparkle.